This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, friend. Welcome to goonlinetrainings.com. So yesterday we were talking about lookup transformation, right? So lookup is going to be performing searching operation, comparing the input with the reference table data. So the reference table can be a cache file or SQL table or a query. By default, the straight rows without matching entries as errors must be configured for error output. Lookup data is case sensitive data. All these points we discussed, and I also uh, clearly explained the difference between joins as well as the lookup operation, right? So today, let us understand one more important concept in our lookup, that is caching modes. There are three cache modes available in the lookup. By default, you are able to get the full cache. Then the next one is called partial cache. Then the last one is called no cache. Okay, these are very, very important, you know, things that you need to understand. So today we're going to be implementing, or we're going to be understanding what are these lookup cache options. Let me go to uh, Paint. Let me go to Paint, and this is my source table, and this is where the lookup is going on, and I wanted to send the data to the destination. Clear? So let us take this is what is your source, right? Let me increase the font here. This is your source. This is what is your lookup transformation, right? And this is what is your destination. So where you wanted to send the data. Now I have this table. I have this table, or this may be a file, employee.txt. Employee.txt file I have. I have a lookup table. So this may be a department table, or you can say X reference table. This is a reference table, or this is also called as a lookup table. So that you need to create. So department table cannot be a file. Okay, department has to be there in the SQL or in the any RDBMS. It cannot be a file at all. So you are able to access this data, and you are able to access, and you have configured SSIS lookup transformation. All the matching data, it has to go here. Unmatched data, you don't want to take it. So forget about it. So at least matched data, I wanted to take it and load it. How the things are going to take place. Now by default, lookup is taking what is called as a full cache mode. Okay, there are three cache modes are available: full cache mode, partial cache mode, and no cache mode. So this is the default cache mode in the SSIS, or in the lookup transformation. Clear? So where exactly we're going to be using a full cache mode, and how the full cache mode is going to be working, and what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages, that you need to understand. For example, I'm reading a lot of data from, let us say, Dubai. So Dubai, there is a file. From there, I'm going to be reading this data. Clear? My lookup, this is SSIS. SSIS is maybe running in my computer. So in India, SSIS package is developed, and I'm going to go to Dubai server. I'm taking the network path and reading this file, and I'm performing lookup operation. So I'm doing SSIS package is available in India. But where is the department table? Department table may be in my computer, or department table may be available, which is available in not in my server, the server which is there in UK. Clear? So this SSIS package has to go to Dubai server, get this row, and look up, the India, I'm running this package, right? This package has to go to UK, read one row, and it has to transfer this data to, let us say, New Zealand. Okay, so this is what is happening. Clear? So now everything is remotely available. Now you have to increase the speed operation. Can you do that? Because everything is remotely available. So this is my Dubai server, and my lookup table is not available in the my local server where I'm running my SSIS package. Clear? Yesterday I have created the package. I'm running in my computer. So in my computer, I have Oracle, but this table is not available in the Oracle, in the local SQL Server Oracle database, which is available in one more server. You can give the server name instead of a dot. So the network server name, IP address you can give. So it is going to go to the remote server and get the data, and you're going to be, putting the matching data in this. Now, do you think that it is going to work very, very faster? It is not going to work at all. It will take, because it has to read one row, and after that it has to come and get one more row here and compare. If it is happening, bring the data and putting into this server, it is going to be happening very, very slowly. Clear? But when you have a full cache mode, so how the lookup is going to be working? Let us understand step by step. Now, before understanding this lookup, let me tell you one more thing. So, what are the execution phases of SSIS? Execution phases, okay, of SSIS. These are very, very important things that you must know clearly. So when you execute SSIS package, it is not going to execute suddenly as it is. It is going to be having a phases. First phase is called pre-execution phase. In the pre-execution phase, which is going to be validating that the tables you have used, the reference tables, paths, whatever you have created, it is going to be validating means, if you say I'm using employee.txt file as a source, now it will check, do we have the employee.txt in that path? If not, in the validation phase, so execution phase, in this, what is going to be happening? All the validation of sources and destinations. Do we have a data warehousing server? It will go to 192.0.1.1. We have given the IP. It checks there. Do we have this server? Yes. Do we have this database? Yes. Do we have the table there? Yes. So it is going to be verifying a source, a destination, everything. So that is what is called validation phase. Otherwise, I go to source, I get the data, I do lookup, and I try to load into destination. Destination table is not there. Then what should I do? I have to have the destination table as well, right? If the destination table is not available, I simply blindly go to the source and get the data. Now I find the table is not available. So that is not the case. You need to go to the source, check whether you have table, yes, tick mark. Then come to the destination, check. Do you have a destination table? Yes. Do you have the server? Yes. Do you have the path? Yes. You need to check each and everything. Clear? If everything is smooth, then it goes to the source, get the data, and it is going to be loading. So that is what is called progress phase. Progress means it is going to be loading the data. So in this place, the loading is going to be happening. If all the tables are available, the loading is going to be happening from source to the destination and applying a lot of transformation, loading, transforming, a lot of things it's going to be happening. Transform and load. These are the things it may do. Clear? So once everything is over, you have loaded. After the loading, that is what is called post execution phase. In the post execution phase, what you do? You do lot of cleanup work, right? So once the function is over, what you do? You have to clean your house. So lot of housekeeping activities are going to happen. If you're occupying a lot of RAM space, you need to remove. You need to free the RAM. You have to remove completely. The occupied RAM or occupied CPU, whatever you have. If you create a temporary tables, all of them need to be cleaned up, and the SSIS package will be coming out of this one. So there are three things that is going to be happening. So before execution, and during the execution, and post execution. So post execution cleanup, or you can say housekeeping activities. Okay, housekeeping activities are going to be happening. For example, you're doing a function. So what you do? So simply you have some pre-execution activities, a shopping, invitation, inviting the people, and all of them are part of your pre-execution. So before the function, you need to invite all people. You need to do the shopping. You have to book a lot of rooms and everything, function halls and auditoriums. You need to book them, arrange travel arrangements, lot of things, ticket booking, lot of things you're going to be doing, right? So during the wedding day, for example, you're conducting a wedding. During the wedding day, you have few activities, welcoming the guests and serving the food and giving the gift items. Lot of things you're going to be doing in the wedding day. That is progress phase. Then after the wedding, what you do? You make the payments to all people, right? Payments are compulsorily all vendors. They'll be coming after the wedding, and you need to make remaining payments. Payments will be done, and the cleaning work will be done, and a dropping work will be done. So all these things will be done after the post wedding. You need to think like that. Am I clear? So now, when you go in for these phases, in the pre-execution phase, validations are going to be happening. One more activity also it is going to be happening. Load all the data from where? From the reference table to where? Load all the data from the reference table to local cache or local RAM. So cache means RAM only. You cannot say it is a hard disk, RAM, memory, buffer, cache, whatever you would like to call. Clear? So all the data from where? Load all the data from the reference table. Remember this. Now what it is going to be doing, let me go to my pane. So I have a lot of data here. Let us say I have some 10 GB of data available here. I have a millions of rows available in this table. So where is this table available? This table is available in the UK. So when the execution starts, it is not going to performing a lookup operation. No, that is not the case. In the which phase I'm talking about, the phase called pre-execution phase. It is going to be validating all tables are there. Yes. All destination source reference table is available. Yes, that is successful. Then load all the data from the reference table. Remember this. So all the data from this table is going to be loading wherever I have a lookup in that machine. Okay, in that machine, you have what is called as the RAM. Okay, so you have some RAM space. So in that, you're going to be loading. This is your RAM, right? So cache or RAM, you will be able to have. So in my laptop, I have RAM. So all the 10 GB of data, it is going to be loading. So this is the task it is going to be doing. Remember this point. All the 10 GB of data is going to be getting loaded to where? From the department table, which is there available in one more server that is there in UK. All the 10 GB of data it is going to be loading wherever the lookup is running. Lookup is running in my machine, in my computer, right? So in my computer, I have, let us say, 20 GB or I have 100 GB of RAM because mine is hard. Mine is a server. Server means it is not going to be having 4 GB, 5 GB RAM. You need to have huge RAM. So in my machine, I have, let us say, 100 GB of RAM is available. So I'm going to be copying this 10 GB of data. It may take 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It may take. All the data is going to be loaded to the local RAM. So whenever you have the uh, the reference table is available in the remote server or in the remote location, when you use full cache mode, what happens is that in the pre-execution phase, all the data from here you're going to be dumping into where? Local RAM. Now for this may take a little more time extra. What are the disadvantages? It may take more time to load the data. This is disadvantage. More time to load the data. So this phase may take a lot of time. For example, you're a chef, you wanted to make a pizza. Now you have a kitchen on the ground floor, but all items are available in the third floor. You have raw material, vegetables, whatever be the thing, raw material to make the pizza is available in the third floor. What do? Do you start the cooking immediately? No, you have to go to third floor, get all the items to make the pizza to the ground floor. So before start cooking, that is before progress phase, what you do? You have to go to the third floor, get all the items needed to make the pizzas that you're going to be getting. So this is what is called pre-cooking, pre-execution phase. Chef and assistants are going to go to third floor, get all the items from the third floor to the ground floor, and at the ground floor you have to do some kind of a caching. Somewhere you need to keep next to the stove, or some corner or near to the stove you're going to be putting. Why? Because when the cooking is started, you cannot go to third floor and get one more item. You cannot go to third floor and get the item. So that is completely problem. So if the items are available not in the kitchen, not in the local area, it is available in the third floor. That is what is called remote area. Clear? When you have something in the remote server, remote machine, you bring all the items for the cooking, whatever you needed, that you need to bring them and keep wherever your stove and cooking is going to happen in that machine only. Clear? So in this machine, the lookup operation is going to be happening. All the 10 GB of data it's going to be bringing. You're going to be getting from the remote server, getting all the items from the third floor to the kitchen. Kitchen, you're going to be keeping all the items next to the kitchen, next to the stove. So where you can access within 1 minute or 1 second. Am I clear? So that is what is a trick that you need to understand in the full cache mode. But if you don't have a bigger kitchen, that is the issue. Clear? If you don't have a 10 GB of RAM here, but if you have only 4 GB of RAM, but unfortunately you have 10 GB of data that you have to accommodate. Can we accommodate here? No, we cannot do anything. So if you don't have enough space, enough RAM space, then full cache mode cannot be implemented. So this is where you have to implement what is called as a no cache mode. Clear? So when there is no enough space, you have 10 GB. If you have 100 GB of RAM, there is no problem. But unfortunately, I have 4 GB of RAM in my laptop. But the table size is a 10 GB. Now, can I get all the data and keep it? The answer is no. That is when we have to implement what is called as a no cache mode. In this mode, lookup transform does not maintain any lookup cache. Why it is not able to maintain? There is no enough RAM in your machine where the SSIS is running. Hitting the reference table for every row, this is used when there is no enough cache or the RAM space available in your local SSIS machine. Otherwise, you're going to be doing what is called as a full cache mode. This is what is called a default mode. In this mode, entire reference table is loaded onto the cache during the pre-execution phase. That's what I'm telling you. So pre-reference table, complete data is going to be loaded during where? So complete load all the data from the reference table to the local cache. And what is the minus point? More time to load the data from which table? From reference table to your reference table to, let us say, cache. That's what you need to understand. So try to understand, we are not loading source data. So one of the interviewer is asked, in the full cache mode, are we going to be loading source data or are we loading the reference table data? One of my students told clearly, I'm going to be loading the source data. That means that guy was sleeping during my session, right? So we are not going to do any kind of a loading of the source. No, source may be having 100 GB of data. We cannot load source data at all to our cache. I am talking about if we are going to be loading what? So remote table data or the reference table data only we are going to be loading. We are not going to be loading the source table to anywhere. So that will be available in your Dubai server only. Am I clear, guys? So that is what is very, very important. So I'm loading, full cache mode. All the data got loaded, then fine. Now the execution starts. So this is what is the execution. In the execution, what it does, it's going to be reading a row from here. A row is available. It is going to be reading. Now it will check whether the matching row available in the cache or not. It is not going to be using this at all. This is gone because all the data is loaded here. and whatever you have it here, the same thing, it is going to be checking whether we have the matching row. If it is matching, the data is going to go, and it's going to be reading the second row, and it goes to the match, and it is going to be verifying. Then it's going to be having something like this. Then the match data, it is not going to touch this remote server. Okay, remote server is available in somewhere other location in UK. So all the data I have loaded for initial 2 to 3 minutes time, the data is available here. Then what you do, you will be reading the data and doing the comparison operations. Then if it is matching, the data gets loaded to the destination table. If the enough RAM is not available, then full cache mode is not used. You have to go in for the no cache mode. That is also one more interview question. When should I go in for? When should I go in for a no cache mode? So you need to tell them that instead of a full cache mode, you better in a plan for the no cache mode, because you don't have enough RAM space, because reference table size is more than the RAM size. If that is the case, you have to use the no cache mode. Yeah, am I clear? What are the disadvantages are in this? In the disadvantages are, one is more time will be taking, and more RAM space also you need to have it. More time and more RAM space you must have. Okay, if you have, this could be a disadvantage for you. Otherwise, it is not going to be happening properly. So these are the two things that you need to have. A lot of times I had seen this issue. They would implemented a full cache mode. It will say that memory buffer is over, or memory out of memory issue. So a lot of times when you have more and more data coming from the reference table, it cannot do this. It will say out of memory issue. Lookup may give you, because that is also one more issue. If you don't have enough space, more RAM space is needed, more time to load the data. These are the disadvantages. Clear? But what are the advantages once everything is over? So it is going to be very, very faster. Lookup is very, very faster. It is not going to go anywhere. All the data is available in the local machine only. Get the source data, compare, and it is going to be loading, which is going to be very fast. And these are the disadvantages. Am I clear? So this is, you need to explain them clearly. Clear? You take a pen and paper, or you ask them, give sir, give the pen and paper. Let me draw what happens there. So everything you may not be able to explain in proper English, but at least carry a pen and paper. Sometimes we will not be able to tell them clearly. You take a paper, draw this. This is what will happen, and this is what will happen. You draw this diagram there. So whenever you go for the interviews, face-to-face interviews or some interviews, you can explain clearly like this, so that the other guy can easily understand. You tell them that these are the issues, these are the positive points, these are the negative points. You can easily tell them that. Clear? So this is what is called a full cache mode. Full cache mode also have some issues. Okay. So lookup operation will be very fast during the execution. Lookup will not swap memory. So SSIS package may fail if you don't have enough memory RAM. So when to use full cache mode? When we access large portion of the reference table from the remote server. Need to have huge memory, takes extra pre-execution time to load the data from the reference table when the database of reference table is remote or heavy load. So this server is busy always, and the server is not in the local server. This is available in the remote. Okay, so maybe the server is remote and it is always busy. It is always, it is having its own it is giving, it is accessed by many other clients. It is also having a lot of heavy load. You cannot go every time and ask, give me some data, give me some data, give me some data. You cannot, because I'm teaching something here. So nobody can disturb me because I'm busy with my teaching. So nobody can come and ask me, sir, I need this, I need this. I'll say, you wait for 1 hour. So if the server is busy, this guy has to wait because you're getting the data and the server is not responding to you at all. Then how do you compare? Because the data is available here, you have to do the existence match with this row, with this server only, but the server is not responding at all. It is not giving any data at all to you. Then how do you check? Because it is under heavy load. If I'm busy, you have to wait outside until and unless I complete the session. You cannot do anything to me. So if that is the case, whenever I am free, get the data from and here and better to load it. Clear? So whenever these servers are free, during that time only these SSIS packages are scheduled, not when servers are busy. So morning to evening servers are always busy, probably after 9 o'clock in the night or midnight or early morning or like that. During that time only we are going to be doing this kind of an operations. So this server is quite free that time. It can give you a lot of data that you can store it here. You can perform full cache mode and lookup operations quickly and easily. The next one is called partial cache. And the partial cache, what happens and when should I go in for partial cache? Let us understand. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. If you have any questions for the full cache or if you have any questions for the no cache. Otherwise, we are good to go for the partial cache. Clear? So
Hello,
let me,
sir.
yeah,
At
tell me.
what time we are creating the reference table? At the time of data warehouse designing,
No,
or when we need to use lookup?
reference tables are already created because you would have designed the database, data warehousing, everything, right? Because when you design the blank data warehousing, then only you can design your ETL packages. Clear? So if the data warehouse design is ready, means you have your X reference tables and everything is ready in that. Maybe in the available in the data warehousing, maybe it is available somewhere else as well. Need not be in your data warehouse. So reference tables are already there. If it is not there, at least it has to exist somewhere. If it is not in your data warehousing, am I clear? Somewhere it has to exist in some server. Am I
Sir,
clear?
Okay.
one
Yeah,
sir, one
tell me.
question. Can
Hmm.
you give me a practical example when this lookup will be using?
Every time, every time, whenever you go in for the lookup, for example, yesterday I told you one thing, right? So you have given a lot of data, and from the data you supposed to get, let us take, I wanted to get all the data. Uh, I will give you one good example like this, where exactly we can use lookup means. I have lot of data coming from employee table. Let us say employee ID and employee name and employee city. I have it. Clear? I have some lot of data. I'm getting say Ram. Let us say city of Hyderabad. I'm saying Kiran, city of, let us say, Bangalore. So what normally we're going to be having? We are going to be taking a cities like this. Okay. So when you have a city's data, we have a city ID like this. Clear? We have a city like this. Now I have city 10 Bangalore. I have city 20, say Hyderabad. I have city 30 Pune, something like this. I have some data. Clear? In the destination table, whatever be the reason, this is how it is there. So you have employee, dim employee table or some employee table is available. So this is how the destination table you supposed to create employee ID and employee name and employee city ID. They would like to have it. Clear? So now how the things would happen now, you have to compare. This data will get loaded as it is here. Clear? Now I have to map, I have to get the city ID, but where the city ID? City ID is not available here as source. Now what you do, you have to compare Hyderabad with Hyderabad and get the city number here, and that we're going to be loading here. So whatever be the reason, so this is what is the requirement for us. Now this would be the reference table for us, and we are going to be using this, and we are going to be mapping this. So whatever be the reason, if you have some kind of misspellings also, for example, you have a John, and the John is available in Hyderabad, but so it is available like this. Okay, so now this will become unmatched data, and this data will be able to go here. So this data will be part of unmatched data, and this will be your city table data in many situations, and this is how we will be loading the data into the data warehousings. Am I clear? In many situations.
So
So you
Bhaskar,
will, yeah, tell me.
is it a you said many situation, that means like it depends if there's a possibility the source can be a problematic, in that case we have to use the lookup using the reference table since
Need not be, because in the destination table, I would like to capture city IDs here, and I don't want to capture like this. I don't want to capture the cities and everything because I would like to capture the city ID. So normally in the data warehousing tables, we never create a city. We always create a country, state, city, something like this. So those kind of a things will not be able to get them here. So you will be able to see only Hyderabad here, but in the data warehousing situation, there is a location table that will be available. Let me give you one real-time situation. So where you have location ID, you have a location country, right? There's a state and there is a city. Now, if you give this, if this is my source table in the real time, okay? Now the people will be telling you, tell me how many people are available in India. Now, do you think that can you answer this? How many people are available in India? Can you answer? Because there is no country at all. Or they'll ask you, what is the total sales happened in Afghanistan? Do you think that this is coming from India, from Afghanistan, or Dubai, or from Nepal? You don't have any clue. So in OLTP situations, we never ask. So always we'll say sales equals to city. But in the OLAP situations, we ask always, what is the country-wise sales? What is the year-wise sales? What is the semester-wise sales? What is the state-wise sales? Normally in the data warehousing, what we do, we create one more table called a location table, and we implement like this. One country is India, state is, let us say, AP, and let us say some A. This is what is called a city, or you can say AP, let us say some Vizag. Okay, then you say country called India, then take AP, then you can say some other place. I can improve like this. Okay, so country called India, so I will say Karnataka. There is one more state called Bangalore. Something like this you're going to be having. Clear? So what is the advantage like this? So whenever you have, for example, this could be your Vizag, right? So this could be your Bangalore. This could be your something like this. You have some places. So what is the advantage? Where exactly we are going to be using a lookup? Because I would like to compare Vizag here. If it is matching, I wanted to take as a 1 year. So to whatever I have it here, I will be able to take the second guy. So is 2. I'm going to go there and I'm going to be having this. Is what is the city for this guy? Say the city for this is this, and this is 2. Now what is the advantage? Now I can easily answer. I can i can easily answer, this guy belong to this state and this city, this country, and this guy belong to this city, this one. So by creating extra table, by removing this column from here, by placing a new column and adding these things in the data warehousing, you will be able to easily understand, country wise, location wise, this wise sales. Otherwise, by looking, by placing only this table, it is very, very impossible to get it. So this is what is called a lookup table, you can say. This is a reference table, you can say. Clear? So using these tables, we will be able to do a lot of data analytics in our data warehousing systems. So in this case, we have to use what is called as a lookup transformation. So you compare this and this and get the appropriate number. We're going to be using it here. Tomorrow, we're going to be checking this data with this data. We're going to be linking. Now, this guy is coming from this place of country and this place of state and this place of this. So this you can easily answer. Clear? So whenever you build data warehousing machines, we are going to be using a lot of tables like this, and we're going to be loading the data like this. Clear? Not as it is. Clear? For example, when you say customer, so people are going to be asking you, give me your address. Amazon.com is asking you, give me your address. Some people will say their state, Some people will write some address, not fully. So lot of things are, not clearly mentioned. But end of the day, the Amazon CEO wanted to understand. I wanted to have century wise, category wise, location wise, town wise, subtown wise, this wise, that wise. I need to have the proper things. Now, how do you implement those kind of a situation? And they'll always tell that this is my data. They'll not give you country, city, everything here, but how do you implement? By using this kind of a reference table and rewriting the destination tables like this. Am I clear?
So can we think that we have in fact tables, we have references of the, like we have only foreign keys of the dimension tables. So in that cases also we'll be using this, right?
Anywhere, wherever you wanted to do lookup operation. This is one example.
Yes,
Wherever
got it.
you wanted to compare something and get the data and get it. Very simple. So it is some lookup page you can use anywhere. Need not be here. Okay,
Yes, got
wherever
it.
you have something else, I would like to get this and get the data and try to implement it. Clear?
Thank
So it
you.
is a simple existing operation. Yeah. So
Hey,
existence check. That's it. Nothing else. Yeah. Yeah.
Bhaskar, you just asked about like about the full cache mode. As you say that transferring the data to the RAM is like a different timing. So in this case, are we going to create two different package? One is to move the data to the RAM in certain time,
No,
and
no, no.
after that,
This is what is happening. You're not going to do two weddings. In the single wedding only, you're doing everything. Pre-execution shopping and execution. The wedding is going to happen. Then you're going to be clean. So it is a single package execution. That's what I told you, right? So whenever any package, any single package gets executed, the work is pre-execution and the post, the progress phase and the post execution. We're talking about single package. So
then
everything automatically, how automatically SSIS does. That's how SSIS is implemented. Am I
how
clear?
yeah, how often you place then data to the RAM, like from the
Now
reference
you tell
table.
me, whenever I am executing this package, I have created a package called package.dtsx. Now I am executing this package. Now what happens? If I execute this package, this one happened, right? Validation, everything is done. Then what happens? Load all the data. Then after that, what happens? Everything happens. Then after this, it is going to be deleting all the data from where RAM. Then everything is over.
Got it.
Clear? Loading the data, doing its activity, and cleaning up. Housekeeping means what? Whatever be the data got loaded here, so that data also you need to remove from the RAM and comes out. That is what is called post-execution phase. Everything will get clean and package over. If you again call the package, because nobody is going to be calling the package morning, evening, afternoon, right? So once in a day, once in a week, once in a month. So once in 15 days, once in every Saturday, once in 3 days. So like that, or every midnight at 12 o'clock, or every early morning 6 o'clock. So once in a day or once in a week, once in a month, you're going to be calling. So that time it's going to be doing validation checks, loading all the data and performing checks. And after that, it's going to be deleting all the data from the RAM. So that's what it's going to be doing. Clear? So if you create any package, all these phases are going to be happening. Clear? So that's what you need to understand. Anything else? Okay. Now, let us talk about what is called as a partial mode. So, in the partial mode, what happens? Let us see one by one. In the partial mode, in this mode, the lookup cache starts with the empty at the beginning. So, let me take the diagram and try to implement it. What is that it's going to be doing? I am talking about partial cache. So, let me take one source. This is my SSIS package I'm going to be running. Now, this is where the destination. I wanted to load the data. Clear? So this is the thing. So here I have implemented a lookup. But lookup I have implemented with what? Partial cache. That's what you need to understand. Clear? Now again you need to have a source table. Now let me take a source table. I have one, let us say A 10 and 2 B 10, and 3C, let us say 10 or 20. Like this, I have some data. Okay. And 4D, I have 30, and 5E, I have 20. So I have some data like this. I have 6F, I have 30. So this is the source data I have. It is employee.txt file. Clear? So you have this data. I have a lookup table here. So lookup table may be having millions of data, millions of rows it has. So it is what is called a department table. Now it is having millions of data, not of numbers, lot of data. You have it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. It is there 80, 90, 100, 101, 2, 3. Lot of data you have it. So lot of data we have it. So all the data dot 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 millions of rows are available. Now matching data you have to bring it here and you need to take it. Now let us understand you have a cache. You have a cache available. So this is your RAM. The first question, if I go in for full cache mode, what happens? If I go in for full cache mode, all the data is going to be taken from the RAM and it is trying to load all the data here. All the data, millions of rows is going to be added, loaded here. So you may have 1 million data, 2 million data, 20 million data you have to load. But question is, am I loading all these numbers? Because if I see 10, 20, 30, that's it. Only I wanted to make use of this data. I don't need this data at all because there is no matching for this data. So I have 10, 20, 30 here. So I don't want to use 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. You have a lot of other data that I don't want to use it. So that means I wanted to use not complete data of reference table. I wanted to use at least 30 to 40% of the reference table data, portion of the reference table data, not all the data of the reference table. Clear? Because when I check the existence check, I'm having only 20, 10, 20, 30 here, but not all the data. If I use all the data, if I use full cache, all the data necessarily or unnecessarily will get loaded. And after loading, you're not going to be using, you're wasting the RAM space. And for loading, unwanted data, it will take unlimited time because this is a bigger table. So all these things are nonsense, right? Because I wanted to use only portion of the table, only 30%, 20% of the data I wanted to use. So not all the data. Why should I waste my time here? So that is what is the point. So in the pre-execution phase, it is not going to do anything like this. So what it is going to be doing in the pre-execution phase, so this is for the full cache mode. Now I'm talking about partial cache mode. In the partial cache mode again, you will be able to find out all these phases. The first phase is called pre-execution phase. Validation will happen. After everything is available, it is not going to do anything. The work starts. It is going to be happening, the progress. Okay, it will start loading the data. So nothing will happen in that one. Okay, so now validation starts, means source is available or not, reference table is available or not, destination table is available or not. It is going to be checking. Done. Then it is start loading it. When it start loading it, so what happens in this time, the cache will be free. RAM is empty now. So nothing will be happening. It is empty at the beginning. Clear? Now it reads a row. So step number one, it read a row from source directly. That's what it's going to be doing. Now it is not going to do anything. The RAM is empty. Now it is going to be reading one row from here. So this is the step number one. Remember this. Step number one, it's going to be reading this row first as it is. It's not going to load anything. It's not going to touch anything. Now after reading this, it checks whether do we have a 10 in their RAM or not. That is the validation. So it's going to be checking and verifying whether it exists. It checks here. It checks in the RAM. So the next thing, it goes here, checks where? Checks in the cache or the RAM. Okay. So it's going to be verifying, do we have 10 there? It may be true or it may be false. Okay. If false, if it is not there, if true, it can use it. If false, if not exist, so we don't have 10 here. It checks 10, 10 is not available here. If the 10 is not available here, if not exists, it is going to come here. It is going to be checking in this table. Okay, checks in this. This is third step. Do we have 10 here? Yes. If you have 10 here, then fourth step, it is going to be loading into this. Okay, if you have 10 here, then fourth step, it is going to be loading that value here. So this is what is called load. Clear? So if not exist where? If not exist in the RAM. In the RAM, it checks where? It checks in, reference table. If reference table, in the reference table, if exists in where? Reference table, then what? The value is loaded where? Loaded in the RAM. Okay, if it is there, it is get loaded. If this is not also here, then it is going to be leaving. So I don't have here, I don't have here, then it is unmatched data. I'm going to be leaving that. If it is there, I'm going to be loading that. Okay, so 10 and 10 is there. So this 1A is going to be matching data. It is going to come here. Now it is going to be reading the second row. Now it goes to the RAM first and checks, do we have 10 here? Yes, we have 10 here. It need not come to the reference table. So you will be able to see 2B20 is 2B10, sorry. 2B10 is going to be coming here because already I had cached it. So if you have any duplicate data, that can be used. Now it is going to be reading the next row. Do we have 20 here? You don't have 20 here. Do we have 20 here? Yes, we have 20 there. So 20 will get loaded and you will be able to get 3C20 gets loaded. Then the next row, it is going to be reading 30. So do we have 30 here? We don't have 30, but do we have 30 here? Yes, we have 30. 30 will get loaded here and 4D 30 is going to be loaded. Okay, now again it's going to be reading the next row. Next row is 20. Do we have 20 here? Yes, we have 20 here. So it is not going to go to refer to this table. You have FE, then you have a 20. The next it is going to be reading this row. You have 30. Do we have 30 here? Yes. So 6F. Clear? So you have 6F is going to be coming here. Only at the end, we are caching only this much data. If no rows are available, it is going to be coming out of the execution. Clear? And all this will get removed from the RAM and everything is got over. Okay. So why are we caching? If you get the same 10 somewhere again, so that the cached data, I can use it. So here, I'm not going to be using complete data from the reference table. When should I use partial cache? If you wanted to use portion of the reference table, remember this point. Okay. So if I have a lot of data in the reference table, but if I get all the data, one is wastage of RAM. Second problem is that you need to load unnecessary data R's together to the RAM. That is waste of time. So if you wanted to implement like this, you can go in for partial cache mode. Am I clear? So end of the day, whatever you wanted to cache, only those rows are cached. Because why are we caching? Because if you get the same row once again, this caching technique is used. I need not go to the reference table once more because this table may be available in some other server. Clear? So in this mode, you're going to be using partial cache. And if there is no enough RAM, so definitely you can go in for no cache. No cache is also available, that it is going to be consuming lot of time. So you have a full cache mode that is always default mode. Then we have a partial cache mode, and this is one more thing that you need to understand. Clear? So do you have any questions? So that is what you can read like here. So in this mode, the lookup cache starts with empty at the beginning. So here only the validation happens, nothing happens. Validation happens, then it starts loading the data from by reading it. So RAM is empty. Now it start doing row by row. Read a row from the source, checks in the cache. If it is not available in the cache, it is going to be checking. So when a new row comes in, the lookup transform checks its cache for the matching values. If no match is found at the cache, it queries the reference table. If the match is found at the reference table, the values are cached so they can be used the next time a matching row comes in. So less memory, pre-execution time is less, but however, lookup operation is slow, may hit the database more often if you have more and more unique values. Clear? So that is the disadvantage, but we are helpless. We cannot do anything. The third one is no cache mode. In this mode, lookup transform does not maintain any lookup cache. So hitting the reference table for every row, this is used when there is no enough cache or the RAM. So these are very, very important interview questions. People are going to be asking, when should I use full cache mode? What are the advantages and disadvantages? When should I go in for the partial cache? And what are the advantages and disadvantages? What is the no cache mode? When can we go in for this? And all these things are asked. Now, any questions? Now, if you do any kind of a work, so you may get some kind of an errors. Any work you do, so you may get any kind of an error. So what is the meaning of this? Let me go and tell you. I'm loading some data. So when I'm loading some data, I may get any kind of an error. So if I get some kind of an error, what should I do? Let me give you one example. So I have an employee table. Simple example, let us take it. I have employee ID, employee name, and employee salary. I have one, let us say Ram, I have 1,000. Two, Bill, 2,000. Three, Sonia, 3,000. I have some employee data. So the same data is duplicated because it is a flat file. Nobody can verify, and this flat file has millions of data. Unfortunately, there is a row. This row is called a duplicate row. Then you have some data like Peter and say 2,500. I have some data here, right? Now you take all the data and try to load into the destination table. Destination, you create a table, and it could be data warehousing or simply some table you're creating and you're working. And if the table does not have any primary keys, so all the data can easily be loaded, no issues, because there is no primary key. Foreign key, simple one table is available. It can also accept a duplicate, it can also have duplicate data. All the data can be loaded, but unfortunately in this there is a primary key. Because of this primary key, what happens? Now let us understand the situation. Understand the situation one by one. So always SQL Server is going to be loading the data row by row with the help of transformations, right? So I load this data. This data got loaded in this. Fine. And I load the second data. This is also loaded. Fine. After loading this, now I am also trying to load this data. This is also loaded. Fine. Row by row transformations. So it is going to be reading row by row. It is going to be performing. Now I take this row. I try to insert it. When I'm trying to insert it, after this gone, SQL Server engine, it verifies primary key, and this data is containing duplicate because duplicates cannot be inserted. So whatever be the data inserted, that will get deleted and you will get error. So the execution fails. That's it. So this is the error row. This is error row. Error row would have been copied here. And what happens? It could not go because of the primary key issue. Whatever the thing it got loaded will get deleted. Then error comes, and after that SSIS package is going to be stopping. Not only SSIS, any ETL will fail. Why it is going to be failing? Because there is a error in the data. Why there is error? Because the destination table is having a primary key. So it could be any error. So need not be this error, any error it could be. If you get any kind of an error, so what SSIS is going to be doing, whatever be the data it is loaded, that is loaded, and wherever you got an error, so it will get the error, entire package is going to be failing, then remaining data will not get loaded, and whatever be the data it got inserted already, this data also will not get deleted. Whatever be the data gone is gone, but wherever the error, only that row will get deleted, and it is going to stop the execution. Now this is how the SSIS package is going to be working. But if it is working like this, it is perfectly doing, there is no problem at all. But the customer will not be happy with this kind of a solution. Why? Customer thinks that I have to load billions of rows, and because of one row, I could not copy remaining 90% of the data whole night. Morning when I came and asked my technical people, they're saying, sir, whatever the data you had given, it is having error data. Then because of that, the entire package is failed. It is not able to load the data, sir, since it is failed. Now the client will be asking, okay, if there is a problem in this row, you would have skipped this row. That row you would have skipped it, and remaining 90%, at least 99% of the data you could have loaded. Now I don't have time. I have to make the reports out of this data. By 9 o'clock, I have to submit it to my boss. My boss will be angry, because if I say the data is not loaded because of one row, you have billions of data to be loaded because of one row. You are saying me today, sir, completed data is failed. It is not my mistake. It is SSIS package is behaving like that. So if you say like that, do you think that people are happy about it? If there is a problem with one row, why are you stopping the entire package? Can't you take it further and load the complete data? It makes sense, right? Because end of the day, to load 10 million data or 10 billion data, it may take 24 hours. Saturday night they had given the data, and Sunday morning you were telling, and sir, it is failed in the Saturday itself. So then what is the meaning of this? So do you think that ETL is very good? It is not at all good. If there is an error occurs, I assume that I have given wrong data. It is fine. It is my mistake, but I don't know, because I'm giving you lots of data. I cannot have any control on the source data. You may get some kind of a duplicates. Why can't you ignore this row and continue further? Why are you failing the entire package? Do you have any configuration like this? Yes, SSIS is giving you lot of other configuration options as well. So what are the options it is giving it to you? If you get any kind of an error, it could be common error, primary key, foreign key, this error, that error, any kind of an error, you can have it. You should be able to do this. Clear? So any kind of an error, you should be able to get it, but that error should not stop your package execution. What are the other configurations that you should do? One is called fail component. This is the default behavior. If any row is having an error, then complete package execution stops abruptly. Whatever the data got loaded, it will be there, and after that no rows are available in the destination table. So this is what is the default behavior of any ETL, even for SSIS as well. Once error occurred, data flow execution is stopped. That's it. It's not going to go. So this is the default behavior. The next behavior, ignore the failure. Data flow execution is continued with the next steps by ignoring that error. It is going to be ignoring that and continuing with the remaining values. Okay, it is ignores that and it will continue with the remaining data. Data can be loaded to the destination. The next one is redirect this row using a red pipe. I was talking about red pipe, right? So using this red pipe, you can take this mismatched rows to the some other destination, and the data flow execution is continued. If you have a red pipe, what we can do? We can create one more table. So this is a destination table. One is this. We can create one more table called employee underscore error. So using the blue pipe, the success rows will go. This error row can go here. Okay, error row can go here. So remaining rows are going to be available here. It is not going to fail. It is not going to fail when you use red pipe. So that is what is the meaning of red pipe there. Clear? It redirects the mismatched rows to the some other destination, and data flow execution is continued till end. If you get any errors in between, so that row also will get routed to the employee.error by when you configure one more table, one more file for the error data. If the customer asks me tomorrow, sir, I cannot load 100% data, 98% data is gone to the employee table, 2% of the data failed, so that rows are available here. If the customer says, I am not interested for the failure rows, don't send me those rows as well. So if that is the case, you can say ignore failure. So customer is selling, no, don't give me the data. I cannot do anything because the data you got it from some other log. I cannot do anything. You just ignore the data. You just leave it. You don't send me that data as well. If that is the case, you can go in for ignore failure. And 98% of the rows are available, but not 100% of the rows. Clear? 2% rows you are not loading, and customer is also not interested with those rows. And if that is the case, go in for the second option. Third option is redirect rows to the one more destination. This row you can give it to the customer. Okay, so these things we can work. So whenever you implement, you have to question the client, sir, in case of any error, how you want me to handle this kind of a requirement. Question need to be asked to the client. So you cannot say, if error occurs, I will fail, sir. If you fail like that, customer will not be happy. You need to ask the customer, during the requirement phase. Not you means not you, the architects and the team leads and the managers, they will be writing these points in the documentation itself. If there is a failure occurs in the data, you capture. If there is a failure occurs in this data, you don't capture it. If there is a failure occurs in the, you fail the SSIS package because customer needs like that. So they will be writing like that, and you need to create these kind of a things as per their requirements. You cannot use everything always, the last option is good, always first option is bad. You cannot say like that. Customer is saying, if something goes wrong, don't load any data, you fail it. Please, that is also customer is saying. If that is the case, the fail component is the better option for the customer. So what kind of a data you're loading and what is that customer needs, for that you have to configure your SSIS package like that. So tomorrow, in tomorrow's session, I'm going to be showing you one demo on this. If there is a failure, no data goes in. If there is a success, all the data goes in. Or if something goes wrong, it will be successful, but those rows are skipped, or those rows are redirected to the one more destination. Clear, guys? And this is what is called. How do you handle errors in SSIS? If there is an error in the SSIS, how do you handle? There is an error data in the source. How do you handle the error data in SSIS? So questions are same question asked like this repeatedly in different ways. How do you handle errors in SSIS? Is there any error in SSIS? So how do you handle that? So there is an error data in the source. How do you handle the error data in SSIS? So that's how people are going to be asking. You can tell them that ignore failure, redirect that error data into one more table. So these are the two options that you have it. So these are the things people are going to be asking in the interview. Compulsory interview question. If you get an error during the data flow, or if you get an error in the ETL, how do you handle the errors? You can tell them that I can either redirect that rows, or I can say ignore by taking the client's help. I will be configuring like that. That's it. Any questions? So tomorrow we're going to be doing this demo. Am I clear?